Good evening, welcome to the studio tonight. I don't know why that always sounds, I don't know, there's something about that sound that just, I won't say cracks me up, but it sort of amuses me somewhat. Right, so, monochrome airbrushing. And, right, so, start with some glasses I can see with. I can see with the glasses I've got on, but these other ones let me see the details a bit better. It's amazing how you, with glasses, you think it looks clear, and so you put some glasses on that are clearer, and then it looks even clearer. Ah well. Right, so I've got air, because that's the one thing I just forgot a moment ago to do, which was to turn my compressor on, which wouldn't have helped because about 10-15 minutes in, the tank would have gone flat and I'd have run out of air, which would have been a bit odd. Right, so monochrome, that means white and black. So I shall mix some white paint. Let's see how well I get on with white paint tonight. And let's see if I can bring this easel a bit further forward. Without knocking everything off the desk, which is a distinct possibility, I guess. I now move this camera. So I haven't yet decided what I'm going to paint. Or attempt to paint is perhaps more like it, because I am well out of practice. And that's an understatement. Even after 3 days, Saturday, Sunday and Monday, yeah, 3 days. Well, we're going to find out. We're going to see what it's like. So I was playing about in my own mind with a couple of ideas. And I've got some reference pictures which I might have a go at, and we shall see just how things come out. Yeah, I think I'll do that one. And then once we've done that one, I've got a different one that I can do as well. Ow! So let's just clean up the paint, top of this paint bottle, because it's squeezed down. I've got paint on me. Which reminds me, I was thinking about putting the mat down, wasn't I? This is, yeah, because otherwise, if I knock this off, I make a mess of my carpet. I don't want to do that. I'll keep the top of that clean, because keeping your paint caps clean is a good idea, because what that means is you don't get dried paint in your airbrush. Dried paint can be a little bit of a pain in the neck. Well, it's actually a pain in the airbrush actually, because it clogs up the nozzle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm playing about with mixing ratios as well. It's been a long time since I've mixed paint. It's been a long time since I've mixed white paint. I don't ever recall having to thin it down much, which is what I'm just doing here. Especially this paint, but as I've not got the setting air pressure that I'm not using the air pressure I used to use. Yeah, I used to use about 35 pounds. Maybe I'll try putting the air pressure up a bit tonight. Or just the paint has just thickened over 2 years. That's always possible as well. So I've got some paint there.
Girl, I'm hung up on your touch. Early on in the night, you said you were mine. As we sipped on our glasses of wine, and you looked at me with that
I'm going to put it all in the airbrush, just in case I want to switch colours. Then I don't waste paint. I don't like wasting paint. Take the nozzle cap off because this has an exposed needle. Let's turn this airpressure up. So that's 30. Let's try around 30, 32, 34. Right. Good, no bubbling. And that's spray. So perspective. Perspective's always interesting. I'm doing this totally freehand. No pencil marks, nothing. And this basically is going to be fun because... Ooh, that's nice. This paint is spraying nicely. I like this paint at the moment. That's just at the moment. It's probably going to get worse.
Oh, you love that you've never known. Oh my God, I'll take you with me. Don't look back. I'll be your savior.
Yes, more like that.
Oh, you love that you've never known. You've never known. You've never known.
Okay, so that's going to be less. Well, so like that. Okay, so what I'm doing at the moment is drawing. Actually, you can see it. Hey, that's amazing. I can hardly see it. You can see it better than I can. Okay. So I decided I'd do the trade, which is an idea I've just had sort of buzzing around in my head for a while, and just to see what it comes out like. So where's my mask, or shield as is the name for it. So I'm just going to use this to get an edge. There we go. So airbrushing, use shields to, surprisingly, shield things. It makes it easier. I mean, you can sit there and do really sharp lines with an airbrush. Just, you know, saves time not to do that. Okay, so I want, yeah. So I don't have any. So I'm going to use another. So yeah, just basically using the shields to generate an outline that I like the look of. It just helps. It also helps to use a shield that's clean, and that one isn't. Have I just created this? Yes, I've created a line on it. Never mind. We can always go over that in black at some point. So I'm just looking for a shape. Still working really light. I was attempting to work really light. It's actually coming out a lot sharper than I was expecting. It's always the case, you never have quite the curve that you want. Yeah. So that's going to come up that way. Like that. So we'll work on this afterwards again. So the trick, it's sort of extreme. What's the word I'm looking for? That actually wants to be steeper than that. Extreme perspective. It does want to be steeper than that, so we'll have another go at that. To sort of, it's going to need to come down. Again, that it's extreme perspective, which is a really long object seen from sort of just off one edge of it. It's like drawing or drawing ships, for example, long ships. You've got that sort of real sort of perspective look, which is rapidly tapers off quite sharply because of the angle that you're looking at something at, which makes it a challenge to know just how to paint them. But so we're both finding out at the same point here just how to do this, because I don't know. I'm working on it as I go along. Now, yeah, so that angle that I got to start with probably was close. So let me borrow my shield again, and we'll do it that way. This may look terrible. Worst cases, I will just take this paper off the board and file it in the suitable location underneath my desk. Yeah, and I don't know if that's right or not, but we'll work with it. So in terms of doing this, what we're going to have is a fairly... I'm liking the way I've mixed this paint at the moment. It seems to be flowing quite nicely, which is a bonus. Now I am going to need to go and use black on this to get rid of some of the lines that I've sort of put in that I don't want, but that's not too much of an issue. Have I got tip brown on that? A little tiny bit, it's not bad. There we go. So in common with the way in which I do pyrography, what I'm going to be doing is starting dark and get lighter as I decide just what sort of tones that I want. That probably wants to be a bit longer, I think, so we'll take that down a bit more. So that initial curve I put in there didn't look right, or doesn't look right, so we'll not bother with that, and we will adjust it after the fact. So I'm going to want something across the top of there like that. come down there to create that sort of shape there. Yeah, with a fairly bulbous sort of nose on this. I'll give that a little bit more. What does that look like? Okay, down there. And then as we come down under the nose here, we're going to have something that isn't coming out of the airbrush. There we go. Nope. Now, whilst I'm doing this, Incredible Wolfie, good evening. Welcome. Ah, you bought the... yeah, that would be fantastic. But don't forget, I've just got to do a permit before you. Okay, I'm going to make the assumption that you are ready. But if you're not, just let me know because I've got to do a permit. Otherwise you'll get timed out, and that's not such a good idea. Permit. Where's my tab key? Tab. There we go. So you've started again. Well, that's fantastic, and the fact that you're enjoying it makes it worthwhile. You know, from that point of view. Okay. That's a house. It's a house. You know it's a... I'm saying that's a house. As though I'm surprised. I'm not quite sure why I'm surprised. Because of course you know exactly what it is. Okay. It looks quite good, does that, doesn't it? I'm doing it again. You obviously think it looks quite good because you're doing it. I mean, I know you might think, oh, I could do something else, but so that's a small town or a village, is it? Yeah. Wow, you've been busy, haven't you? Forest clearing. Well, I'm guessing that's what it is. And oh yeah, characters. How much of the assets have you actually drawn for yourself there, or are they game assets that are available to you? I'm guessing from what you said the other day, they're probably game assets, are they? Still looks good. It's nice and colourful. I have a tendency with games like that. I have a tendency to like games that are colourful, so that looks quite good. No. What you say is, yeah, I did them myself, because I wouldn't know. I'd never know. You get to cheat that way, you see. Yeah. Yes, they are largely your own work, because you placed them in the places where they used. There's all sorts of ways of saying things that allow people to misunderstand what it was you actually said, so you don't tell any fibs. But other people think you've said something completely different to what you did say. So what is the game about then, Incredible Wolfie? But I'm glad you went ahead and you're enjoying it. That's absolutely fantastic, and you've actually produced something with it as well. So that's absolutely amazing. Yeah, FPS, first-person shooter. Okay, but there's still a lot of leeway even in a genre like that. Of course, you could be not wanting to give away the secrets until it's complete, which I perfectly understand. That's all right. It's no problem. It's to be a bit wider down there. Like that. That wants to have something there. And if we use that, yeah, most of them seem, yeah, okay, right. So where would that be? And about sort of there. Like that. And then we've got rails down the bottom there. So that's got to be, yeah, it's more or less straight. So we've got like a doorway there. Got the bottom there. So this is going to be interesting because again I am doing my best really in doing this not to use too much detail. Okay, I shouldn't have done that, but I can fix that with black after the fact. So that's down there, and then that comes around there like that and disappears. That's like that, and then that sort of will disappear like that. Okay, you know something, I've never played Pokemon, so I actually have no idea what the gameplay is with Pokemon. Yeah, I did recall that you said it was an RPG engine, not an FPS engine, but you never know these days. I mean, especially since it was, I was about to say it's fairly obviously it was a third person anyway, so you could have had a third person, a TPS game, even with stuff like that. I mean, cartoon style violence, to put it bluntly, I guess, does get used a lot because it tones down the violence. So it is something that happens. That's why it looks like that. Okay. If I now, how do I can't what I can't remember incredibly Wolfie at this point is how to permanently allow you to create to add links, so please excuse me, but I shall have to do it this way. You only get 3 minutes. If I work it out for the next stream, I'll try and remember to add it so that you don't. Okay. Well, truly, I did say I've never played Pokemon. I have seen it. I just never really understood it enough to. It's not a game that actually interested me. But yeah. I gather it's kind of like capture wild animals, train them to fight each other, which sounds incredibly cruel. Yeah, turn-based fight. Yeah. So I kind of just never. I know it's a really popular thing, but. And also, to some extent, turn-based games haven't really been an interest of mine either, for that matter. So it's kind of a it's another reason why I haven't looked at that particular. So it's oh, you wanted to show? Yeah, okay, yeah. So you're launching it on the world tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much for that, incredibly Wolfie. I guess I've just given you cause to probably regret making that offer. In that I kind of don't play those sorts of games, so I'm probably not a good one to stream it with. But actually, I think I've only ever played one game on stream, and that was for. Well, I kind of didn't play it. It's a long time ago now. It's back when I first started streaming. And I remember I was going to do some wood carving, and Junior, the cat, came and sat on my knee. Now, that was rare in itself back then, so I kind of didn't want to turf him off. But the other thing is, trying to do anything over the top of him, back then he was somewhat less tolerant, shall we say, and would have attacked my hand with either his teeth or his claws. And so I didn't really want to do carving. And of course, having a cat that's about, well, potentially will suddenly leap, scratch and bite, using sharp chisels wasn't a good idea. So I decided I'd stream a game, because then I'm not moving around. You know, I have one hand on a mouse and one hand on the keyboard. And the game I'd been playing at that point was Factoria. The only thing was, I think it had just updated, and when I loaded it up, it wasn't actually corrupting the save, but it wasn't displaying it properly. And I spent about 10 minutes trying to make that work, and then gave that up. And Junior at that point got off my knee, so I started carving again. But thank you for the offer, Incredibly Wolfie. Well, let's wait and see when it's ready. Yeah, I'll start speaking. Making sense would help. So I don't know how many hours I've got in it. I've never actually finished the game. You know, got the objective, which was to launch a satellite. I've never actually done that. I kind of keep restarting and learning. You know, I mean, it's. Shall we say? I have learned that it's effectively go big or go home. You know, it's you don't start with one mining drill. You start with 50 mining drills, and 30 furnaces, and that's just for the iron, and then you've got the copper. And I actually haven't played the last. I am currently sort of playing it. So if you go, not this current time I'm playing it, but the time before that was probably about 6-8 months ago. Since then, in the base game, they've introduced things like uranium and things like the drones, the robots. Now there's a limited quantity in a control thing, and all these sorts of things. They're kind of new to me. So when I started playing it this time again, and that was again because I'd seen somebody playing it. I started playing Factoria because I saw Direwolf play it, to be honest. I thought that looks an interesting game, and I thought about it for a while because it's sort of my style of game. And I tried it out, and I played it for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then for probably about the same time I stopped streaming. I think I actually stopped playing it as well at the time. I stopped doing a lot of things just then for a while. And then Egypt, when the Glassblowers started playing it on the stream, and I watched the Glassblowers, so it reminded me of the fact that I liked playing the game. So I started it again, and I've sort of been playing it on and off for about 5 weeks now. I still haven't got very far, and I don't know. There's a point. I'm sort of at a point now where I haven't. Not sure whether I'll actually just say, you know what, I'm just going to start again. Yeah, it's kind of. I've kind of built. You know, there's copper smelting going on. There's there's. I mean, there's now, what is there, 6 research packs now. I've got automation on 5 of them, I think, and I've been playing with trains, so dragging in resources. And I must admit, I'm playing it on peaceful at the moment, just because I can't be bothered with the fighting on it. Actually, what I want is an atomic rocket, and then it's bye bye aliens. But well, we could do. The only problem is incredibly Wolfy is would be matching timescales. I mean, I'd be quite happy to do that, but it's matching timescales because I mean, I'm streaming now, and yeah, okay, I suppose I could stream it. But you know, if I finish this at 9 o'clock, that's 9 o'clock my time. I think it's either, is it 10 or 11 o'clock your time? So it's quite late. Trains are kind of having fun with it a little bit at the moment. I don't know, not just because of this. It's the first time I've played with the trains, so it's sort of a fun chance. You know, in the past that would have been long conveyor belts and things like that. The bit I'm kind of having a trouble with, and apart from the fact that I'm talking and not actually painting, is that keeping the machines fed from the belts. So you know, it's copper in this particular case, but actually pushing enough copper up the belts, and I'm sort of running I think 3 belts at the moment side by side, but actually keeping enough pushed into the belts to keep the subsidiary lines fed, and I just don't seem to be able to do it. I can't balance the belts well enough to you know, you take half of the load off one belt off, and then you want to balance it again, and I just can't get them balanced properly. Okay, thank you very much. My Steam is the same, Zerrigan. Well, not the same. It's not incredibly Wolfy, but it's Zerrigan, I think. But thank you. Don't know how you played multi. Well, I guess one person hosts the other, don't they? I have never set it up as a multi-user, so. Right, so yes, I am supposed to be painting a train of some kind. It's largely based on a UK high-speed train, but just playing with it. Okay. Well, I guess it would have to be simple for me. I'm not actually that bad. I mean, I run databases. I've got a machine over there running virtual machines on it, and I've built my own doorbell and wireless network and things like that. So, for some reason, though, with software, I don't get on with software that's not actually as easy to use as it should be. It annoys me because, you know, software ought to be easy to use, and generally speaking, it often isn't. And it's kind of poor design, and that's. I can do a power forward. It's not an issue. Port forward isn't an issue, but maybe the routing might be here because I'm running virtual LANs as well. So it's slightly more complicated than it sounds. Well, that's too steep, but I'm going to leave it as it is there. So let's just forget that I'm actually doing something that is meant to be looking like anything in particular. Let's go and just do slightly fantasy style here. So I'm really kind of just playing with paint. I think let's use it like that. I'm surprised I can still hit the marks. So when you're airbrushing, I'm turning the paint on and off, and I'm while still moving the airbrush. So the way in which you use it is you start moving. Whilst air is blowing, you allow paint to come out, and then you stop paint coming out whilst you're still moving, because that way you don't get blobs on the end. Because if you stop moving, you get a lot of paint in one area. And so when you want to sort of fill in an area, you have to start and stop while still moving the airbrush. And I'm kind of surprised at how well I am hitting the mark. So as I'm coming down here, I'm starting paint there and stopping it down here, so I get a smooth coverage. I'm kind of just surprised at how well I'm managing to do it, given that I'm out of practice quite a bit. There's also anime is the Japanese style of cartoons. Well, we can see the way your mind's going, Incredible Wolfie. To me, it looks like a railway engine. Well, or actually, it looks like a train. But yeah, okay. We'll leave that bit of the conversation alone, I think. At that point, since I don't particularly want to change the stream rating to an 18+. So if that's gone like that, we'll take this down a little bit there, and we'll do that there. So it's going to be like that. That's going to go around sort of like that, and then we'll have the rails coming down the bottom. And for the rail, I won't actually see the rail. What I might do is put a second. Yeah, okay. We are talking about sort of, it's meant to be in the dark-ish, so I can cheat, you see, because then I don't need to do any detail down here at all, which is kind of fun, because I don't need to do that. We've got windows. Yeah, we do have windows down the sides. So what we can do then, therefore, is get rid of the drag paint off the tip of this needle. Surprising just how far paint goes. I've only got a couple of drops of paint in this airbrush, and so far I've done all of this stuff with it. And yeah, I'm doing a sort of a doorway-ish sort of thing there. And of course, yeah, we've got side windows on this. Yeah, little tiny ones just there. So So this is kind of, I forgot what this particular train is, but it's sort of largely, loosely based on, oh I see, loosely based on a UK locomotive. So we've got handrails there, that's like that, so we've got the stuff there. Okay, now then, do I want to do anything behind it? No, I don't think we want to do anything behind it. That won't actually help to do anything behind it. So, okay. Yeah, so let's start to now actually get a little bit more definitive with shapes and shade. So I can get finer lines by moving in closer to the paper. So the further back I go, because it's coming out in a cone. So the further back, the more more widespread the paint is that's coming out. Incidentally, that also means it's more diffuse. So if I come far back and spraying a white cone, then it takes a lot longer to get whiter because there's less paint in a small area. So the closer you get, it turns really white really quick. Sneaky questions, eh? Of course, I'm sure that, well, is there a particular rationale for that, or is it just I mean, is there a good bad system in there, or is this just a question that you are trolling the player with? Now what I want to do is kind of make this look a bit like I've got a light source up here actually on this. So I'm highlighting sort of the top edge and this edge here, then it'll fade off towards the back and fade off down as I go down. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I know all about that headache. Yeah, I haven't had any. I was about to say I haven't had any for years. I actually am prone to getting migraine, and some quite bad migraine. So I kind of understand that if I get a reasonably bad migraine and I don't do something about it, punishment isn't the word. That's rather mild, is that punishment. It really hurts, really feels sick and can't see straight, and it's really painful and all sorts of odd sort of effects. So yeah, I think you're with a headache, yes, you're accurate in that. I mean, 50 hit points, probably about 400. No, that's true. Yeah, you teach them first, and then start hitting them with it if they don't do what they're supposed to do. Yeah, games that sort of, you make a slight mistake and they sort of either outright kill you, you know, start again type game, or you know, take 95% of your health in the first 2 minutes because you didn't know the rules of the game is not fun. I don't find games like that. That's the sort of game where I go, you want to be like that? I don't want to play. And you know, there's lots of other games out there. Yeah, so teach them the rules and then hit them. I'm kind of actually that you know what, that looks better on screen than it does here. I was just thinking this is kind of a bit like a ghost train, and not as in a fairground ghost train, as in a, you know, ectoplasmic train almost. It kind of looks a bit like that. It also looks a heck of a lot more detailed on as you're seeing it than what I am. You then have Sanchez get back in. I'll keep going. Yeah. What? How is so? What's the style of? I would say style of gameplay. Incredible Wolf. I might just call you Wolfie if you don't mind. Is it? I don't know if you know the term on the rails. That's a pun, but it wasn't meant to be. You know, you have a certain path that you have to follow. And you have to find that path if you don't know it, or is it sort of more of an open world where there's lots of things you can do, and things are, you know, like as you're saying, headaches they occur at random as opposed to always at that point in the game. Because of course that sort of thing. I mean, a lot of the early adventure games, and some of which were RPG style. There was one path through it, and once you played it, that was it. You kind of knew it. There's the odd thing like an item might be in a different place, but it was in this place or that place type of thing. And of course, these days a lot of games are more open world. They're either procedurally generated, full stop, or they're just lots of things going on. Stardew Valley, for example, just in a similar sort of style. There's lots of things you can do in lots of different orders. Open world with a story. Okay, yeah. Oh, now that starts to get sneaky. I guess there is an advantage to saving the time. So, you know, something else can be done because of it, and so it's you're making the hard choices. Do you play it safe, and you know there's. The advantage is you don't get punished, or do you do it? You get punished, but the advantage is that you can do something else. That starts to get sneaky when you put choices in like that, where either path is kind of a valid path, but there's consequences to doing it either way. That gets sneaky, does that? You know. If this image, and I'm pointing it here, if this image looked like I see it as you're seeing it on the screen, I'd be half inclined to just leave it and say, you know what, I like that as it is. But when you see it in person, it's not half as good. So I've got to do some more work on this. That sort of I mean, if it literally is just a couple of seconds, then you've got no real incentive to not do it. In a way. So that's I don't know your game, you know, and I don't know what idea you've got for it. I mean, I'm just looking at it there. You know, you're sort of if all you're going to save is a couple of seconds, and that's the only thing that is kind of like, well, in a game that you maybe want to play for several hours, what's a couple of seconds on one occasion? If it was something like, I don't know, that would allow you to complete something in the first day, therefore, you know, so it wasn't a couple of seconds, you sort of save what might be half. And I know you can't sort of let somebody just rest in a game, laid in a bed for half an hour, but half an hour game time as opposed to half an hour real time, so that they can, you know, do something. I suppose with that sort of thing, you do things is like, if they go to bed, then the sleep is 2 seconds in real time, but your clock advances by 5 hours and that sort of thing. And it might be that, you know, and I'm making this up, by staying up, by not resting, you know, you've got those 5 hours in which you can do something, but it becomes, you know, you get punished for it, and, you know, maybe you can't do as much work the next day either because of recovery and that sort of thing. You sometimes do the same thing with your... Yeah, it's weird the way the camera looks at things. I mean, the camera's picking up on the contrast a lot more than I am here. But one of the things I find with working with, and you probably heard me say it with things like the pyrography, it's if I step back by about 6 feet away from this board, I see something that resembles what's on the screen. Not necessarily the contrast, but, you know, just generally speaking, you know, the details blur slightly and they look a lot clearer and sharper from 6 feet away. My art is 6 foot art. You know, it always looks better from 6 feet away. It probably looks better from 160 feet away, but but you know, I'm not that modest. But yeah, it's the camera for some reason gives that same sort of view. So when you'll have seen me before, when I'm doing some form of art, I'm often looking at my monitors, because I don't have to sort of stand back, which is a bit difficult with stuff behind me, but to go to the other side of the room just to see what it looks like when you look at it from the other side of the room. Yeah, okay, interesting idea. If that sort of thing, they sort of learn it the first time. There then becomes a choice which becomes harder to make. You know, a straight choice is sort of, you know, as you sort of said, lose 2 seconds or 50 hit points, and it's kind of like, why do I want to lose 50 hit points? You know, 2 seconds. There's no consequence to losing a couple of seconds of time. But if you make it like, you know, you don't get this item if you rest, but you do get it if you don't. But there is, you know, you've got the hit point hits or possibly whatever else. It becomes a lot harder choice for somebody to make, and that's more in keeping with the RPG element, of course. It's if you make these choices hard for people, I mean, it's as you see on some RPGs, sometimes it's, if you're learning a skill, for example, you can learn that skill or that skill, but you can't have both. So you then have to weigh up which is the better one for you, the better answer, or the better question, and things like that. It does make those games a lot more interesting to play. And again, I'm talking and not spraying paint. Ah dear. Some of the other art, I'm now getting used to being able to talk and art at the same time. I'm not yet able to do that consistently with spraying. but we will probably get there over time. That is a fairly wide, loose colour. So that's actually what I ought to do is do it like that. I'm forgetting some of the airbrushing techniques. When you want to do if I'm drawing a vertical line and I want it to fade out across here, one of the things you do is hold your airbrush like this and spray like that, because that way you get a lot of paint on this edge and then it fades out because of that cone. And I keep forgetting that. Yeah, you got to think through all the. I'm not trying to tell you how to do a game, by the way. It's my own opinion, and yours may be different, and that's fine. You know, and it's your game. You're the one that's developing it. So, yeah, if you don't situations where there's a choice. If when I've played games before in the past, and I don't play RPG games, but I do play sort of other games, if you like, which may, well, you know, even something like, just as a daft sort of example, things like the Euro Truck Simulator. There is an economy in there, and you've got this trade-off. Do you, do you buy another truck for yourself so you can do things faster, or do you hire a worker in the game so that they can get money for you, or do you buy the certification that lets you go drive for longer distances, or do you get the one that means you use less fuel? So which makes you the money faster, and the choices isn't it's not obvious what the choice should be. So it's down to your own preferences partially, and there are maths involved. If you want it to, you could probably work out which is the better one, but there's always this choice going on, and it's not an obvious thing that says at this point I must do that because that is the definitive best way. And that's, I think, what makes games of that style more interesting, because it's not on rails. Some of the I don't know which consoles it is now. Actually, it was probably a Dreamcast console. But some of the games consoles, for example, I used to have a light gun game, and actually I used to have a few. The one I played least was actually it was an arcade style, but it was almost as though you were on a little kart track, and it was moving you through, and you just had to fire at things, and that very quickly became really boring. Whereas the ones where you were walking around, like let's say playing like Doom would be, you've got free roam, you can go where you like, but you to kill things, you get points for it. You could then employ different strategies. So you might go, I'll try that, kill that one first, then that one, or I'll go left round here rather than right, and that sort of game. But ultimately same thing, just a gun, shoot things. That more open world sort of thing there was just a heck of a lot more interesting to play, and I kept playing that and playing that and playing that and keep playing that, just because it's always I can do a little bit better, or why does that one always kill? Let's try something different to get around there. So yeah. Of course, in that particular case where you're giving them something that they can use only once, then, and I've been talking and unfortunately you obviously haven't heard, but the sort of thing you can only use only once, again, that ought to be an advantage to use for some reason. But yeah, you're back. So I've been busy explaining something and about my opinion as to some game styles, and you didn't hear it, but never mind. Right, what am I doing now? I'm kind of... This is night time, so I'm going to have some light, internal light. Now, internal light is probably going to be brighter. But do I want to do that? Will it look good? Now, for things like the windows down here, yeah, it would. I'm wondering actually whether I want... I'm getting in the way. This camera isn't quite... is a little bit in the way. I'm kind of looking at this and wondering whether I want to actually... I used a shield to create what is that line there, which will go away when I paint some black on here. But I'm kind of wondering whether to actually leave it as a fuzzy edge like that. I kind of like that look. That slightly fuzzy edge look there from it. I don't know whether I actually want a really sharp line or not. You know, I mean, it would be in reality a sharp line, but I kind of like that look. I'm also enjoying the fact that this paint is actually spraying nicely. Which I haven't been able to achieve for the past few days. Now I wonder if I can manage to do that. And by that I mean just fade that out a little bit, which actually looks quite good. Never tried doing that before. So what I was thinking about there is making this bit here brighter if you like, and it starts brighter and fades out as we go backwards. Which just, I don't know whether it would happen like that in real life or not, but it kind of looks quite good to do that. So I might continue with that sort of idea. Bright fading out. I'm learning stuff as I do this. Even if it's only RPG game elements. What's really interesting about when you, or what I find really interesting when I'm doing this monochrome work is this paper is no longer black. It's really amazing, but the overspray from just spraying this has actually put white paint virtually all the way over that. I'll call it canvas. Maybe odd bits just like up here, but most of the rest of this is now slightly white. And when I take this tape off, because it's obviously shielded the paint from going in the areas, you can actually see the difference. When I'm looking at this here and when you're looking at it, you can't see that. But when I take that off, it's very much like it's got a black border on it, and you go, ah, that's not black anymore. And you don't see it until that point. So if I was going to... Why have I got water coming out there? Yeah, I got a bit tipped, right? Okay. One of the problems with airbrushing is always paint dries on your needle. When paint dries on your needle, it means it stops it spraying properly. Now I suspect that's not going to look as good as I wanted it to. Although it's not as bad as I thought it was. "6 foot art" again. I keep threatening myself with buying a video splitter so that I can put a monitor, closer to me, so I don't actually have to look over there. And I keep thinking I must save up and get a video splitter so that I can do that, because it would be easier than looking over there. I've kind of done a window in the cab here which is lit. Ish. That's an interesting idea. And yet I've got the main cab window here which isn't. That's one of those things that if I was doing this as a commercial thing, I wouldn't point out the fact that there's a discrepancy there. But as an artist, sort of explaining what I'm doing as I go along, it's kind of like, I have a lit window and a not lit window. But I suppose I can always cheat and say that's reflection. It's light reflecting off the window, which if it was dark behind, you might see more than. So, I'm cheating. You see, you do it in games as well. You can cheat. It's your game, or it's my picture, so I can make up these stories any way I like, and you can't say it's wrong. I might actually leave that black line behind there, because that almost kind of looks like a building or something behind it. Might do that. So I was on about making this edge here, it sort of start light and fade out, so, and I should do it that way. I really ought to get some dig out some lining paper that I've got and just paste it to the bottom and practice my techniques, like the dagger strokes and the fades, because the fades is something that you use a lot of. I mean, that's a fade. This is a fade. That's something that you use a lot of, and I really ought to sort of practice doing those, I think. Trouble is, I get bored doing things just to do them. It's like when I'm learning. If I try and learn computer languages, I can't do I can do a hello world, but I don't like doing hello world programs because It's so abstract. I actually like to have an objective. I like to do something, like paint a picture and learn how to do the fade, if you like, whilst I'm doing it. If I mess it up, I mess it up. But if I don't mess it up, I've got a picture at the end of it. Doing sort of just hundreds of lines and dots and dagger strokes, at the end of it I've got hundreds of lines and dots and dagger strokes, and that's it, and I haven't got anything. And if I've messed it up, I've just got a messed up page of hundreds of lines and dots and dagger strokes. Worst case is I throw this away. Best case is I've got a passable image at the end of it where I've learned something. It almost looks like speed as well because of that fuzzy-ish sort of image. I'm amazing myself. I really am. I'm doing this completely freehand. I really do not know what it is I'm doing, or what I'm doing. I just keep looking and going. I want to do a bit more there. I do have some reference pictures, which I'll quite happily. I just got 4 reference pictures printed out just to give me sort of the shapes and some sort of idea what they look like, but it's all been done sort of freehand. And of course, as you can see, they're in colour in daylight. This is black and white at night, so it's interesting. So let's get something working around this nose a bit better, and I'm not quite sure how to go about doing that. So this is the equivalent of sort of the front skirt on a vehicle. The curve. How's that going to look? How is that going to look? It's going to come down. If I stood there, it would come down sort of like that. I haven't quite got this shape right around here. I'm not quite sure what it should look like.
Children are the war at its worst.
Hmm.
You've been on the base all your lives.
Hey, that works. Don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm looking through my eyelashes. I've got my eyes half almost closed. I'm just sort of peeking out, and I can see the image differently. Weird thought just crossed my mind. I wonder, it would be really interesting to try and paint something like this with an ultraviolet light. So, you know, working in a darkened-ish sort of room with an ultraviolet light, because this white paint will probably glow. And then painting with glowing paint. Because that would be a really interesting way to sort of build a picture up which is sort of in the dark and then comes alive as you spray it. I don't have an ultraviolet light, but
How come it doesn't hurt anymore?
it would kind of be an interesting idea. But yeah, you can probably see what I'm doing here is just using my fingernails to just scrape the paint off the needle. When you're spraying, it's a phenomenon which is known as tip dry. And what it actually is the paint dries on the needle. So as what effectively happens is, as the droplets are coming out, the odd one sticks to the needle. The airbrushing past it immediately dries it, and then it sticks on the needle, and it builds up basically over time, and to the point where it can actually block the nozzle. But it also disrupts the pan, because if you imagine you're shooting a cone of paint out but there's something in the way, then you disrupt the pattern, and it doesn't spray smoothly because of that. And I'm enjoying myself doing this, you know. I very rarely sort of experiment with things in a way like this, which is just do it and see what happens. That one's curving around a bit, but I'm kind of enjoying just how this is coming out. Now then, what I probably need here then is some fine but quite detailed. This probably I will use a mask for, I think. No, I don't like using the mask for that, so we won't. I'm enjoying this fuzzy look. Oh, come on. Alright, possibly nearly out of paint. So let me put a bit more paint in that cup. The amount of paint you've got in the paint cup also has a small effect depending on how much it is, and because of course you've got a slight liquid pressure from the amount of liquid, which tends to help force it out. Now I want to do a fine but light line like that. That's a bit thicker than I wanted it to be, but that'll do. How can you interact with the blade? Well, you can make it, you can sleep in it, you can jump up and down on it, you can look under it. And that's what you can do with it, not how you actually do it, but yeah. Isn't it funny? It's I'm guessing that's the kind of problem that can lead you to spending hours just trying things to get it to to do just what you want it to do. Now, if I've got a window and I'm assuming I'm getting some reflections off the window, then there's probably going to be a window there. So if I can get some paint to come out of this nozzle. Yeah, she's a little bit thick now. I'll mix some more, I think. Let's get rid of the paint that's in that cup by doing that. So just spray it all into the waste container, and then we'll mix some more white paint up. So we're both experimenting with completely new things tonight, Wolfie. You're experimenting with beds and I'm experimenting with white paint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll leave the 401 out of it, I think. 411. Yeah, and I definitely know that I need to. I was going to say water down. Actually, it's water-based paint, so I could actually use water, but I'm not. I'm using what's called reducer. She's kind of feels a bit of a reducing. The reducer actually makes it less thick. So I suppose you're reducing the thickness, because otherwise it kind of in some painting mediums you call it extender, because you're extending the paint use. But there again, in airbrushing terms, extender is often refers to extending the drying time. So it's interesting how different words mean as different. So the same word mean different things in different contexts. Blimey. I'm having so much fun doing this, I've just seen what the time is. So, now then, can I do that window a little bit better now that I've got paint that is... Yeah, I can. Now then, how do I want to do that? Tip dry. Maybe well, I was going to say, whenever you're airbrushing, let's see if you ever do, and paint isn't coming out as you expect it, first thing you should do is look at the tip. Now there's quite a bit of this will need black just to tidy it up, and then we'll go over it again with white, but I want to break up the window, for example, here, and I'm kind of just enjoying the look of that. So if I'm going to put come down there. Okay, let's see if I can do that. Let's nope, nothing's coming out. Feels me going off camera, but the camera's in my way. That's it. And another one about there. And that probably means what we'd have is something down here. And another one about there. There. That's good. I like that. Oh, I do like that. Oh no, don't worry. That's kind of what happens to me. Is when I'm streaming, it's something I've got to be almost conscious of me doing and stop doing it. But as I start concentrating on something, I start talking less. To the point where I get really absorbed in what I'm doing, and you know, it's whilst I'm broadcasting, that's kind of an awkward thing. But no, I understand it as what you know. You play with your game. That's all right. You're listening in the background, and you'll say something if you want to do. That's not a problem. You enjoy your new RPG engine and have fun doing it. You're going to figure out your first cutscene. Oh dear. So now you're into cinematics. This is your first real part of the storytelling. That probably wants to fade so much into black I won't see it, but we'll deal with that later. If this looked in real life like it does as you're seeing it, I'd be tempted. I am almost tempted to say, you know what, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't even actually know whether I want to put any black paint on this. I really don't know whether I want to put any black paint on this at all. It's an interesting dilemma at this point. Oh, come on. Alright, tip dry. Yep. You get airbrush artists will swear by certain additives when they're mixing paint, whether it's a drop of a particular reducer, like an alcohol based, whether it's a drop of washing up liquid or window cleaner or things like this, all to reduce the phenomenon of tip dry, because that is so much of a pain in the neck when you're spraying, when you get that tip dry. And because what if you don't realise that what's happening in your own mind, and when you're concentrating on something like this, you kind of don't always think about it. You start pulling back more and more and more on the paint to get a bit of paint out. And what will sometimes happen then is there's enough air pressure then to actually blow the paint that was on the tip off, and not only do you get splatters of mostly dry white dots on the thing that you're painting, but then because the nozzle is suddenly freed up, it's like having your finger over the end of a hose and you suddenly take it off and a lot of water comes out. And it's the same with paint, because you've opened the valve so much that a lot comes out and you suddenly get this great big blob. And if you're really unlucky, it's spiders all over the place and you go, you know what, it's time for a cup of coffee. That looks better. That probably needs darkening down a little bit to avoid it's excessively bright, is that, but yeah, some of the lines are in the, yeah, I am probably going to need to do a bit of black on that just to just tidy it up, and then probably go over it again with white to get the right sort of angles for it. Yeah, and some black in there as well. Yeah, good idea. Good idea. It's kind of if you get a character that's supposed to be sad but they have a great big grin on their face all the time, it kind of ruins the realism of the game, doesn't it? I really don't seem to have done much, but there again, I'm never a very fast artist. And to be honest, I don't practice at doing it as much as I should really to get speed. My speed isn't really my goal. having fun, enjoying what I'm doing is the goal, but I kind of look at this and go, you know what, I was about to say 2 hours. I haven't, because I keep stopping while I'm talking. But, there's been 2 hours elapsed, and I don't seem to have done very much for it. And partly, I don't know whether I'm just got an unrealistic expectation of how much I should be able to do in a particular time, or whether I really am being slow. I think I've made that a little bit bright actually, but we can adjust that. When I come to do the black, I can tone it down a little bit. So what I need to do is just raise the tone of that a little as well, because it looks like there's a dip where there shouldn't be. Okay, I think. Yeah. Remember, Incredible Wolfie, I need to permit you first. I will see if I can. What I will do, hopefully after the stream, is add you to the regular list, which will then let you post links, because otherwise you'll keep getting timed out. No, I understand. After the stream I will add you to the list of regulars, and being at the list of regulars means that you can post links. Not bad. Not bad. Two completely different expressions there. It's I find it fascinating with anime or cartoon style drawing, just how small changes in a face make a heck of a big difference to the expression, that the emotion that they're giving. I mean, look at those two. The difference is in the size of the eyes and the colour and the mouth. Not the chin, but the little bit under the lips, but the mouth itself is curved a different way. But it's mainly the eyes. The rest of those two other images otherwise are identical. And it's just amazing how just something, so a small change like that just makes a big difference. I am going to say that's it for tonight. I've been about, how long have I been streaming? Nearly 2 hours. No, it's 1 hour and 40. But what I would have to do now is put black paint into the airbrush. Okay. I kind of like to finish at about this time, because it then gives me time to do 1 or 2 other things. Because unfortunately, cleaning up airbrushes is about another half hour of work in order to be ready. So, I think I'm going to stop for this evening now, and that'll give me the opportunity to catch up on a few other things which I didn't get to do last night, because yesterday at work was such a I won't say horrendous day. It wasn't horrendous, it was just extremely busy because of certain issues which needed to be resolved. And I was working late last night, and I've been working hard today to the point where I started falling asleep, which isn't good. So I've got 1 or 2 things I want to get on with, not least of which is uploading some of the archive to YouTube. So if there's anybody watching that would like to see some of the earlier Twitch broadcasts, which include pyrography and punchcraft, and the start. Oh yeah, I've just uploaded the very first chainmail that I've done. 2 streams making a necklace and 1 stream making a bracelet, which were the very first chainmail I've ever made. They were presents for Lady Zara. I did them on stream, spending the stream not saying what it was I was doing, because she was in the other room nearby and would have been able to hear, and I wanted it to be a surprise. She knew I was making a present, she just didn't know what. And it was an interest. I just reminded myself, seeing that as I was uploading it, it was quite an interesting stream, not saying what I was doing. In fact, there's a banner running across the top that says, I can't say what I'm doing because... but yeah, if you want to see any of the early streams, they are gradually being uploaded onto YouTube, and the address is in the bottom blue box. And talking about chainmail, of course, I now sell chainmail jewellery. There's quite a few available on the Etsy there, so zaraganart.etsy.com. Different styles of chain, different colours, different materials. There's not all there, but I do stainless steel, anodised aluminium, bright aluminium, titanium, and I haven't done any yet, but I've got some. Oh, what's it now? I've forgotten what it is. I've got another material that I need to try at some point, but I'll do that on stream first. But it's a lovely colour. I keep wanting to say cobalt, and it's not cobalt. I don't know what it is, but it's not there yet. So, but there's some nice stuff on there, some braiding as well. So, yeah, being cheeky. It's coming to Christmas. There's some good Christmas presents there. If you have some people who like jewellery, and there's no reason why fellas can't wear it either. There's some nice chunky stuff there, especially if you want heavy stuff, because stainless steel is heavy and looks heavy and thick. So that's I must put one on there. But if anybody's watching is interested in stainless steel, then drop a message either here on Twitch or on Etsy. It's not a problem. And so I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna just finally remind about those 2 buttons at the top left there. There's a follow button if you want to be notified and keep track of when I'm live and have me show up on your favourites and things like that. And of course there's a subscribe button up there as well. If you, it'd be fantastic if you consider subscribing to the channel to help with buying things like paints, especially if I think some new ones, if these have dried out, or you know, the other things that we do on stream like the carving and all these sorts of things. So subscriptions go towards helping out with things like that. I will come back to this hopefully tomorrow, because there shouldn't be any issues at work, so I should be able to stream tomorrow, where we will, having put white on top of black, we'll put some black on top of the white to tidy things up a little bit, you know, to actually put in the shadows. And at that point you might realise just how white some of this stuff is. But we'll put in some of the shadows, but I'm kind of, this is really loose and I kind of like it. There's no real detail in there, there's nothing really much, it's just some very fine lines, and yet it looks quite nice. And I think I'm going to, you know, largely speaking, leave it somewhat like this and just experiment with this style of work. So I will be hopefully live tomorrow, somewhere between 1900 hours and 2000 hours British summertime. Well, that's what the clock says it is. It's been raining outside all day today and it's cold. But British summertime. We change shortly, I don't know when. That is in GMT. It's about 1800 to 1900. I try to get closer to the 1800 than the 1900, but I will be going live somewhere in that window. And we'll stream for about 2 hours, doing some painting tomorrow. So I look forward to seeing any of you around then. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Look forward to you on the next stream. Bye for now.